Welcome to PR Talk, sponsored by the PRSA of Oregon and part of the MPN, the Marketing Podcast Network. I'm your host, Amy Rosenberg, founder of Veracity and author of A Modern Guide to Public Relations. So you have reached the portion of the podcast where I'll be going over portions of my book, A Modern Guide to Public Relations. And so if you have any questions or want more information, you can either drop a comment below, or you could pick up a copy of the book anywhere they sell books online, if it's a major bookseller. And if you disagree with anything I'm talking about, or you have a better way to do something, definitely let me know. You can follow us on social. We're at Veracity Marketing on Instagram and LinkedIn. And you could give a comment. You could also tell us maybe you want us to cover something else. We are open to suggestions. Thank you for your support. Hi. Okay, so since we've been talking about how pitches are sometimes or most of the time better than press releases, you might be wondering, well, okay, what should I pitch? And if you always have a short pitch that is timely and newsworthy, okay? Or if you don't have anything like that, you can go to the editorial calendars to kind of figure out, like, you'll get some inspiration, but it'll also just like totally structure your pitch calendar or your PR calendar altogether. If you're in like working in the trades and the verticals and you have a lot of editorial calendars to weed through. So I'll talk about, because a lot of the trades and verticals use them. So do the consumer ones, but that might be kind of, they still use them, but online, maybe not. Okay, so what are they? Okay. Editorial calendars basically map out everything that a publication will run for the entire year. Okay, so that's like our entire cheat sheet. So if you want to get into a specific magazine, see if they have an editorial calendar and then plan ahead. So first of all, let's talk about how to get the editorial calendars. Then we'll talk about how to structure your pitch and also kind of organize all of those edcals. We call them edcals for short. So how you get them, they're not totally advertised, okay? But they're in the advertising section because the ad people use them for sales because they want to know when is XYZ magazine talking about fashion? So then they're going to go out and pitch all their fashion clients and say, XYZ is talking about fashion. So you might want to have an ad in there or you will not be relevant anymore. So, okay, that's fine. They can go and make those calls. But so the PR people or even the advertising people know, oh, maybe I'll just try and get in for free. So that's what we do. We still try and get in for free. Okay, so you find them in the media kit. The media kit is typically in the advertising section of the website. But once you get the media kit, you need to kind of scroll through it and make sure the edcals are even in there because sometimes they're hidden. So if they're not in there, you reach out to the advertising contact and just nicely ask for the edcals. And then they might not even have them. And then you just give up. But most of the time they have them. So there you go. So you get all the edcals for all of your magazines. And then you go through all of your edcals and you figure out which ones you're going to pitch. So which ones are appropriate to you or what you want to talk about. You don't just pitch all the stories. And you might have some months that you will not get to pitch a certain magazine. And that's kind of good. You don't want to bug them too much. You want to be selective about, oh, what do we think we could talk about? Or what relates to us? And it doesn't always have to relate to us or to the client directly. It could just be something that we could have some insight on. So maybe the client has their own clients in a certain industry or whatever. And so you organize that all in a kind of like a Google sheet where you've got all this information all organized for the year, essentially. And so when you're organizing it, you want to have the name of the outlet, the date that the issue is going to be released, the article topic that you're pitching, and then any details you can find on it, the deadline, so the deadline to get your pitch in, which is different than the issue release date. You want the issue release date because you want to know when it's going to be live, because you want to reference that back in your pitch to them to kind of help them. You kind of say like, hey, you start out your pitch like June exercise recovery story idea. And then, hi, I'm writing about the story idea you have slated for June on exercise recovery. And then you go into your pitch. And what is your pitch? It's literally like 2 sentences on, it could be as short as 2 sentences saying, hey, if you would like our take on this, or if you would like any help on this, I have an expert that can talk about this. And then if you know what they would want to say, like, I have an expert that could talk on X, Y, and Z, like whatever topics are related to that, and you could say that in there. Or if you just don't have that, or if you've been working with this group for a while, like meaning this group of media, you don't need to expand if you don't have anything to say. But if you do have something new to say, like, this is what we would say, or this is what we think about it, that could add a little bit of meat or substance to your pitch. And you can say that in just a couple more flowing sentences. Or if you have specifics, you could bullet point them in like a nice email that says, even if you have research that says, hey, X% of people do this, this, and this, or whatever, that ties into that story. But so that's why we want those different things. Obviously, you'll want the contact in your little sheet because it makes it easier if it's on there. And then we have a status section in our sheet to hold ourselves accountable so that it says when we pitched and what happened. So we pitch, we follow up once, and then we drop it because we're pitching them enough. We don't need to be like continuously following up. And we know at Veracity that we have the right contacts, or if like something's off and we thought we had the right contact, we don't hear back a couple of times, then we will look into it. But so that sheet will organize you, and you'll see for one topic or one client, you could have you'd have to do at least a pitch a month to different magazines for editorial calendars. So what we do is we just put a standing date in our calendar, like our personal calendar, that says EdCal pitches for X client. And then we'll pull up the sheet and be like, oh, okay, so we have 4 pitches this month. And then we'll get those out. And then they're all organized by when we need to pitch them, so that we're staying on top of the timelines. So like 2 months to 3 months ahead, we're pitching. We do a lot of trade and vertical press, so we're pitching those. So we know we're about 2 to 3 months ahead, depending on the industry. And so if you just kind of go back to it every month and keep at it, you will get stories. You have to just it puts a nice discipline in practice to have just like a nice, well-rounded media relations campaign, especially you've got that going. Then let's say you do a couple press releases per year, or even twice a year, something like per quarter, you do a press release and get more. That's a nice media relations mix. Maybe there'll be more you can do that we'll get into. But yeah, I think we covered all of that. And if you have any questions, I think I cover more in the book. Thank you.
Thanks for listening. For more PR insight, be sure to check out Amy's book, A Modern Guide to Public Relations, at prtalk.co. Also, please subscribe, rate, or leave us a review.